Therefore, tasmin apaha matarishva dadhati. The last, the final quarter of the mantra. So here, as I already told you, Matarishva is a name of the Vayuhu, air element. Why air element is called Matarishva? Because it means the one who moves about in this space is called Matarishva. Matari Shvayati iti Matarishva. Antarikshe Shvayati. One who moves about within this space is called Matarishva. Air element is called Matarishva. But here the air element, air, stands for Pranaha. Pranaha means what? Which Pranaha? The individual Prana. And individual Prana stands for Samashti Prana, the total Prana. So Vayuhu stands for Samashti Prana Shakti. Prana Shakti means what now? The vital power, the totality of the vital power. The totality of the vital power implies all the powers, totality of all the powers. All the powers means what? All the powers. This Prana Shakti alone is what? Now make the organs of action function, isn't it? Therefore, the Karma Indriyani function, Jnana Indriyani function, all the functions are happening because of the Prana Shakti. Therefore, Hiranyagarbha, that's why we can say the Matarishva here implies Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha means what now? Stands for total subtle manifestation. Samashti Sukshma Prapanchaha, which means the totality of pranas, totality of minds, totality of intellects, totality of sense powers, totality of powers of organs of actions, isn't it? The totality of subtle bodies, you can understand now. Subtle manifestation. The totally, when you view Sukshma Shariram, when you say, you know what Sukshma Shariram means. The totality of all the powers. We say what? Hiranyagarbha. The very word Hiranyam Garbhe Yasya. Okay? Why? Because the Hiranyagarbha is also stands for total mind. Where mind alone is capable of grasping, manifesting consciousness. Isn't it? Therefore, that's why it's always mind is always conscious and sentient. Because it's always manifesting consciousness. It has the capacity to manifest consciousness. Even though mind is dependent on consciousness for its existence, mind is capable of having the manifestation of consciousness. Is it clear? That's why consciousness is dependent on Atma, the consciousness is dependent on mind, the Upadhi, for its manifestation. Mind is dependent on consciousness for its existence itself, whereas consciousness is dependent on mind for its manifestation. Therefore, if you say, what is Hiranyagarbha? The totality of minds, the totality of all the powers. We can say all these functions, they're all from three faculties, from the three different faculties. The faculty of knowing, called Jnana Shakti, Samashti Jnana Shakti. Faculty of desiring, isn't it? Samashti Kriya Shakti, Ichcha Shakti. Then faculty of activity, Samashti Kriya Shakti. So Jnana Shakti, Ichcha Shakti, Kriya Shakti. All the powers, So all these powers are from what? From these three faculties, isn't it? So this is Samashti, Shakti, you can say Hiranyagarbha. That is why Hiranyagarbha means what? Like, without the warp and woof, no cloth can exist. Isn't it? Without the cloth, if we take any cloth, a piece of cloth, the two types of threads, isn't it? Going in between, warp and woof. If we remove the warp and woof, the cloth will disappear. Is it clear now? In weaving, we have therefore, it is the warp and woof alone is in the form of, the fabric is interwoven in warp and woof. Similarly, the whole Jagat, all these two gross forms, gross bodies, subtle aspects, all the actions, all the experiences, all of them are interwoven in the warp and woof of Hiranyagarbha. Which means what? Hiranyagarbha is the very support. Without Hiranyagarbha, there is nothing. Is it clear? Because all the powers, Samashti Prana Shakti is Hiranyagarbha. Samashti, the total power of knowing is Hiranyagarbha. The powers manifest. All these powers are where? All these functions, all these are Hiranyagarbha only. But this Hiranyagarbha alone, dadhati. Matarishwa dadhati means, dadhati, as I said earlier, literally means places, but here you can say allocates, allots, prescribes, delegates. This Hiranyagarbha is as though allotting, prescribing, delegating different duties. Because every natural phenomenon here is a devata. Like sun is a devata, moon is a devata, stars are devatas, vayu, air is a devata. Now each phenomenon functions. Each phenomenon has its own form, its own name, its own function, isn't it? So every small thing in this universe is what now? A phenomenon, natural phenomenon, which has its own name, form and function. That's why every phenomenon, everything which is part of the Jagat is said to be what now? That's why the whole Jagat is, in fact, commented upon by Shankara as Nama Rupa Karmatmakam Jagat. Name, form and function. These three constitute the Jagat. What is this universe? Name, form, functions. Function implies what? Purpose also, isn't it? These three only constitute the universe. So every phenomenon has the name, form, and its own function. Now how, every devata, each phenomenon having its own function, involving its own function, everything functions being within the realm of an order. That's why no devata needs to be instructed. Come on, you do like this. It functions. All the devatas put together is what? Ishvara, the Lord. So now suppose wind functions, the air functions, air blows, sun shines, stars twinkle, and the trees live, birds live, all of them are living, all of them are functioning, means all these functions, like how your kidney functions, your lungs function, your heart functions, every organ functions, means who instructs? Isn't it? There's no instructor sitting separately, isn't it? The only instructor of all these functions of all the devatas is Hiranyagarbha. Okay, that is why onlooking supervisor. is Hiranyagarbha. It doesn't need to, okay, who is the one who delegates all the devata, all these functions? We give the name Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha is the name given to all these functions of all the devatas put together is Hiranyagarbha. The mind functions. How does the mind function? This is how the mind should function. Who decides? Not only that, later on, the bodies have to be, once suppose the death happens, where the birth should happen, where the death should happen, when the death should happen, what should be nimittam for the death to happen, cancer or something else or some other disease or heart attack, what problem, all is called ordaining, isn't it? What should be the nimittam for this person? Nothing else. A person fell asleep, he did not get up. So when should the prana leave the body? When should the mind leave the body for good? When should assume a new body also? And which body should assume? What should be the parentage? Who should be the parents? Or in keeping with this all papams, only frog body is enough? No, who decides? Even human hair also, with the good features, also Shrihi. That's why having good looking, even the good physical personality is also, even though it's mithya, still it's Bhagavan's blessing. There's also Shrihi. Shrihi means also good looks. Even the sharp features and Bidi shows himself like this. Anyway, all these things we say, it's all Bhagavad Kripa. It's all, even anything is Bhagavad Kripa only. Suppose everything is very nice, externally very handsome and beautiful, but buddhi is not them, is what? I'm not talking about you, okay? That's all. Sometimes not. That's why all these things are ordained. Who is the ordainer, determiner of all the functions? All these things happen. Who is this? We say Hiranyagarbha. That is why he's called Vidhata. Vidhata means ordainer, determiner. Karma phaladata, we say, is Vidhata, ordainer, determiner. Who determines everything? One more name is for Brahmaji, means what? That is why he is said to be creator. We say all this Brahmaji, creator, ordainer, determiner, all these words, Vidhata. The Hiranyagarbha is also called Sutratma. Sutratma, why? Sutratma means, one who is, I said already, the warp and woof in whom the entire creation is interwoven. Now, is Hiranyagarbha. That is Sutratma, also is another word for Hiranyagarbha. Therefore, you can say there's a thread, isn't it? Thread here. In the thread, different beads are held. Thread alone is holding on different beads. Sutre maniganaha iva. All are held together. Like the Sutratma is Hiranyagarbha. But here, who is the one who gives Hiranyagarbha the status, the creator status, ordainer status, determiner status? Who lends? Atma. Okay, Atma is not Hiranyagarbha, but there is no Hiranyagarbha without the Atma. In fact, you have to be very careful. Even the Ishvara is negated as mithya. Very painful thing to know. Even Ishvara is negated as mithya. Truth is what? It is the Atma which is the truth. It is the Atma which is distinct from Hiranyagarbha also. Is it clear now? A very subtle thing here. That's why I took some more time. Matarishva dadhati. Matrishva kim dadhati. What does Hiranyagarbha allocate? What does Hiranyagarbha delegate, prescribe? karma. The karma is implied by the term tapaha. Sorry, apaha, not tapaha, apaha. I already told you, the word ap means water. It is a pakaranta stilinga shabdaha, and nitya bahuvachana shabdaha is what? Apaha or apaha, the waters. But how does the word water here imply the karma, actions, isn't it? Because I told you already, in rituals, there's no ritual, no action which we do without many liquids are always involved in our pujas, even any rituals. The water is very much involved. Therefore, water stands for karma. Okay, one more thing you can say. There is a connection also presented here. The water is the cause of, for Agni is the organ of speech is the product of Agni Devata. Like water is the cause of the prana, Apaha, waters is the prana shakti emerged from where, if you ask, from the water alone. Therefore, the water contributes for prana shakti, and the prana shakti contribute for the karmendriya, make the karmendriyas work, organs of actions work. Therefore, you have to come like this. Water is the devata for prana, and prana is what? Prana alone contribute, make the organs of actions work, function. Therefore, the water is the what? Water is the actual root cause behind the activities. Therefore, he says here, can you see all these things? You have to think of the devatas. If you think of Rattabodha class, you have to see who is the devata for which indriyam. Isn't it? That's why the word apaha here implies actions, activities, all the different functions and different activities of different devatas. All ordained by, determined by this Hiranyagarbha. For Matarishva dadati, apaha dadati. But what is the meaning is, but where does Matarishva stand? Matarishva ordains duties and functions of different devatas, which means as instructed by, not physical instruction, okay? We just have to understand all of them are the Hiranyagarbha only. But where does the Hiranyagarbha remain? Is there a Hiranyagarbha outside of Atma? No. If Atma is not there, there won't be Hiranyagarbha, there won't be Devata, there won't be function, there won't be action, there won't be anything. There will be nothing. Therefore he says, Tasmin Atmani. Okay, Tasmin is very important word there. You have to underline. Tasmin implies Tasmin Atmani. Stitva. Okay, Tasmin Atmani Stitva Hiranyagarbha Dadati. Which means it is the Atma only in whose presence, in whose existence, there is Hiranyagarbha. Okay, allotting all these, determining different functions of the different devatas and different powers and different organs and everything. Is it clear? This is the most beautiful meaning you have to understand. Tasmin means Tasmin Atmani Sthite. Only in the presence of this Atma, Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha is taught very highly first. Ishvara, isn't it? The ordainer, determiner, the karma phaladata. We say Sarva Niyanta, Sarva Vidhata, Vidhata. Sarva Vidhata, Sutratma, Hiranyagarbha, allots everything, takes care of all the departments as one Lord, isn't it? But I tell you, this Lord, this supervisor is capable of doing all these things only because of the blessings of Atma. Which means very carefully, subtly negating Ishvara as Mithya, the mantra presents Atma being the only Satyam. Got it? So, the Tishta should go with the previous half, okay? Tishtat dhavataha anyan tad atmatattvam atyeti. Okay, over. The later on, tasmin atmani sati. It's a sati saptami. Only when that Atma is present, only in the presence of the Atma, only because of the mere existence of Atma, all these functions happen, all these activities happen, the whole Jagat functions. Whole Jagat is. Ishvara is. Understand? There is no Ishvara other than Atma. There is no Jiva other than Atma. That's the understanding. Anyway. Let's go to the next now. But before going here, if that is what should be understood here, what should be understood here, the actual teaching comes is, that is the Atma, and that Atma is what? The Vastu, the reality. That reality, Paramatma, Vastu, the reality, implied by all these terms, Brahma, Paramatma, etc., that Vastu is the, what now? The innermost essence of everything that is here, and that which means that is the Sarvantaryami. If Hiranyagarbha is, behind Hiranyagarbha means what? Behind Ishvara means the truth behind the Lord. There is no Lord other than the truth, isn't it? The truth of the Lord, the whole, is Atma. That Atma, that alone is Satyam, that reality is Satyam, that reality is in fact you. That reality is Aham Shabda Arthaha. Everything else is Mithya. That alone is Satyam. But if it is not known, that reality being Atma, the Atma, the reality, the Atma being the content of I is not known, then what happens? Anatma is taken to be the Atma. Then the Anatma dharmas are superimposed upon the Atma, means then all the notions you entertain as what? Even though what is the Atma here is, we are going to see that later on. Atma is free from all the attributes. You take all the attributes to be your attributes. Then there is bandha, bondage. There is suffering. There is samsara. There's also extra. Shankara adds, he makes it clear. Okay, now let's go to the next mantra. Tadejati, Tannaijati, Taddure, Tadvantike, Tadantaha, Asya Sarvasya, Tadu, Sarvasya Asya, Bahyataha. Now, the same four aspects of the nature of the Atma are again repeated in these following mantras. When the teaching is repeated, we all may feel bored. No? So we need not feel bored. Suppose anything repeated is said to be a defect. If something already said is repeated, the repetition of what has been said once is called punarukti doshaha, the error of repetition. But only in Vedanta Shastram, the pudar of repetition is, the error of repetition, punarukti doshaha is not taken. Why? Because Shankaracharya says, Atma ati durvigneyaha. Atma durvigneyaha means the most abstract reality is the Atma. And then it is the most difficult thing to be. If it is not an object, but still it has to be known. Whenever we want to know something, knowing means anything known. An object, something available as an object means we can try to know. Isn't it? Even subtle facts like E is equal to mc squared, even though it is a subtle fact, much subtler facts also we can understand. But any fact understood is what? Still is something, an object. It is object of knowledge, isn't it? But even the subtle facts, difficult to understand subtle facts pertaining to the objects. But here, Atma is a subtlest reality, abstract reality, which is not even an object. Because it is not an object, because it is neither the subject also, but it is available for, it has to be discovered as the very truth, swarup of the very subject, isn't it? And then the mind is always of the nature of being extroverted. It takes a long time for the mind to, make it introverted. Actually, Atma is not that, is neither not inside also. It's neither outside also. It is if it is something outside also, it is easy to show. Something inside alone is there also, it is easy to show. It is neither outside of you, it is neither inside of you, it is very you. Therefore, it is what? Difficult to arrive at. Because whenever we say I, and we want a strong identity, isn't it? Some gross identification we need. I means something formless is you if you say, isn't it? Whenever you say I, immediately what do you think? Isn't it? I am comfortable. We want some gross identity, isn't it? And hold on to. Here, that you means the very content of you, very substance of substantive. I is what? The most abstract, formless reality is something, isn't it? That's why even manasaha javiya, we already seen that. We cannot, even the mind cannot grasp it as an object, isn't it? Which means the very truth of the mind. Therefore, repetition is required. Atmanaha durvigneyatvat punarukti doshaha nasti. Is it clear? That's what is said. Anyway, now we'll go to the mantra. Because mantras are not tired of repeating, but we become tired of listening to the repetitions. To make you happy, Radhaji. Tadejati, tanna ejati. Again, already I said, ejate, isn't it? It must have been. But ejati, it is present. Atmanepadi dhatu, isn't it? So, tad ejati, tad na ejati. Atma moves, Atma does not move. Tad means Atma Tattvam. the truth obtaining as the innermost essence of everything, all-pervasive innermost essence of every being here, the reality, imperative Atma, is what? Na ejati. That is ejati. Which means, if at all it does not move, already we have seen it earlier in the previous mantra. It does not move, it moves. If at all there is any movement, any movement is relative movement. Movement is relative, not absolute. Motionlessness is the absolute nature of the Atma. But the movement is what? Movement is relative. But relative movement also belongs to what? We think Atma by itself does not move, but anything moves is Atma. Why? Because any movement on the part of anything also is not possible without the Atma. You can start from the mind, isn't it? Because mind and sense organs, the powers of organs of actions, the pranas. If these are not functional, physical activity will be impossible, isn't it? They have to be present, they have to be functional, and for them to be functional, they have to be conscious and sentient. Why? Even the subtle powers are all inert material products. They may be subtle, but still they are also inert material products only. Because they are also objects of knowledge. Anything which is an object of knowledge is what? Material product. And here Atma Tattvam is not anything which is perceived, anything which is experienced. Anything experienced means it has to be negated as non-self, non-truth, anatma. Negated as non-truth means what? It is not something which is non-existent, but still it is mithya. It has no independent existence of its own. Isn't it? Therefore, all these subtle aspects, because of the function of which alone, the gross, externally perceived, the gross movements, gross actions, for all that we see here, that is possible because of the subtle, the powers, functions of subtle powers, subtle aspects. And all of them are also material products. And all these material products, subtle powers, whose functions are responsible for the gross external activities and movements, all these things are possible only because of the just blessing of the Atma. See, just that by whose mere presence the functions and activities are possible, is said to be what now? The one who blesses. That is why we, without doing anything, by mere presence, the one who activates everything is said to be the one who blesses. So, blessing of the Atma. Understand the word blessing now? If something happens by its mere presence means called blessing. You see, we understand the meaning of the word blessing also. How to understand what is the, please bless me. Please bless means what? You don't need to do anything. Being there, help me happen, something what I wish to happen. That's called blessing. Therefore, because of the Atmanaha, that's why it's called Anugrahakatvam. Or Anugrahakatvam means blessing. Okay, blessing everything by its mere presence. So, blessing everything by its mere presence means, how do you see the blessing? When all the functions are happening, all the activities are happening, everything is happening, but there are so many new births, newborns are happening, some deaths are happening, some are aging is happening, everything is happening, enjoyment is happening, everything is happening, isn't it? Who has to decide? Whether government is okay, government is not okay, people are okay, people are not okay, what has to happen has been always continuously happening. Nothing stops. Isn't it? That is called what now? Anugrahakatam. The one who sannidhi matrena sarvam karayati. Sarvam, chalayati. The one who activates without any action by his whose mere presence. This also we have to understand. It's also the adhishtanatvam, remaining, this called remaining as the adhishtanam, remaining as the very antaryami, the one who blesses everything here, is the Lord. Therefore he says, na yejati tat yejati. Yejati na yejati. Atma, so sopadhika drishtya, from the stand, if we see the Atma with the Upadhi, then all the movements on the part of the Upadhi, all the activities, all the functions, all the, all that is happening on the part of Upadhi is because of the blessing of Atma. Therefore we say what? That which moves is Atma. With the Upadhi, all that movements are what? Nothing but movements of the Atma. Atma alone is moving through the Upadhis. Atma without the Upadhis is of the nature of actionlessness and silence. Therefore, Atma is of the nature of motionlessness. Atma does not move. Isn't it? That's what we have a nice Tamil song. I think TMS must have sung, no? Patum nane. There's that song. And asaindal asayum ulaham. Isn't it? I do not move, but but the whole Jagat moves because of my mere existence, mere presence. I'll make you listen to the Tamil song later on. So, tad yejati, tad na yejati. Tad dure, tadvantike. Dure, antike. Next is, again, so all the two things with Upadhi, without Upadhi. You are seeing Atma, two forms of the twofold forms of Atma. Twofold forms of only Atma. Atma with Upadhi, Atma without Upadhi. Without physically removing the Upadhi, you understand the Swarupam, Atma Swarupam, the original nature of the Atma. Also see Atma with Upadhi. With Upadhi, Atma alone moves. All that is happening is Atma. Without Upadhi, Atma does not, is of the nature of actionlessness, changelessness. Then, tadu dure tadu antike. Tad tu antike. Antike, Atma is inside. Atma is very, not inside, Atma is very near. Antika means samipe. Antike, Atma is very, very, very near, and Atma is dure, very far. Again the question comes here, how can Atma be very far and how can it be very near also? How can one thing can be far and near? How can you say that? Far and near. Yes, the far and, because one object cannot be far and near. It must either be far or it must be near. How do you say this far and near? A far and near, one object can be said to be, far and near. There's no contradiction. It is from two different standpoints. Now, there is a wall in this room. that wall is far for all of us. That wall is nearer to Gita, isn't it? For her, from her place, it is near. From our place, it is far. So the near and far is only, this place happens to be what it is. Object happens to be what it is. It is neither far, the object is neither far nor near. It only from the standpoint, two different standpoints. It is far or near. Similarly, Atma is also far, Atma is also near from two different standpoints for two different types of people. When is the Atma is at a non-reachable distance, farthest distance for the indiscriminate person. For the one who is indiscriminate, Atma is the farthest. Okay? Far means what? As if Atma always resides, as it were. Always it is far, 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 far for the one who is ignorant of the self. Isn't it? Whereas tad antike, for the one who knows, for him Atma is not even the nearer. Okay? You can't be nearest. Atma is the very self. Atma happens to be the very self for the wise person. It is the nearest. What is nearer to you? What is there anything nearest to yourself? You are the nearest to yourself, isn't it? For the one who knows the self, Atma happens to be the very self. It is the nearest. In fact, then also Atma is non-reachable, non-attainable. Why non-reachable, non-attainable? Anything other than you, away from you, alone is attainable, reachable. Atma happens to be your own self. It need not be attained, cannot be attained. Therefore, it is non-reachable, non-attainable. And Atma happens to be yourself. As long as you search for the truth outside you, it will ever be at a non-reachable distance. Therefore, Atma is the farthest for the one who is ignorant. Atma is the nearest very self for the one who knows. For Ajnani, Atma is Dure. For Ajnani, Atma is Antike. Antike means what? Not inside here. Nearest self. Nearest. Nearest means what? Very self. Which means Atma is neither inside or outside. Atma is the very self. Your Upanishad, Atma is neither outside of you nor inside of you. It is very you. The word natu, tad dure, tad antike. Now he says one more thing. Tad antaha. Tad antaha. Anta means what? That Atma Swarupam, that the truth, Atma Tattvam, not only, Asya Sarvasya Antaha. Asya Sarvasya Antaha. Sarvasya means Jagataha. Asya Sarvasya Jagataha Antaha. It is what? It is there in everything in this universe. It is there in everything in this universe. There in everything in this universe. Sarvasya Jagataha Asya Sarvasya Jagataha Antaha. That is the literal meaning. Then, even though it is within everything, the next line is what? Tadu Sarvasya Asya Bahyataha. Not only it is Sarvasya Asya Jagataha Anta, not only it is in everything here, it's also Sarvasya Bahyataha, it's also outside everything. Okay, outside everything. You have to remember here 3 sentences in this mantra. I finished teaching, okay? The meaning of the mantra is over. Now let me take the understand what we need to arrive at it here. The beautiful, isn't it? In 3 sentences, the whole teaching is complete. First he just said, Upadi, Sopadika Drishtya Atma Ejati. Anirupadika Drishtya Atma Na Ejati. He said that. Having said that, he says for the ignorant person, Atma is ever at a non-reachable distance. Because Atma is, one who is searching for Atma as an object outside, never reachable distance. The one who knows, for him also Atma is non-reachable because need not be reached. Atma is the very self which is the nearest. Therefore Atma is the nearest self. Having said that, the last sentence, tad asya antaha, you have to speak properly here. Tad atmatattvam sarvasya asya antaha means it is there in everything that is here. Which means what? It is there in everything. Everything means this entire universe. Everything in this universe, in this entire universe, it is there in everything in this entire universe. Not only it is there in everything in this entire universe, it is also what? It is beyond everything also. Not. See how, when we remain, sarva asya bahyataha api. Because we may think Atma is in everything in this Jagat, universe means. We may think Atma is not outside this everything. No, that is why he says, Sarvasya Bahyataha. It is there outside everything also. It is inside everything, it is outside everything. For the one who knows the true Atma, for himself is the nearest very self. So here, when we are ignorant of the self, now that we come to teaching here. When we are ignorant of the self, what is our understanding? Now, our understanding is for us, I indicates only the body. When we remain ignorant, when we are ignorant of the self, not just simply we are ignorant of our ignorance of the self also. And then our identity is only with the physical body. We don't even know that we are identifying ourselves with the body. For us, body is the I. The meaning of I is what? Just the body. Aham dehaha, aham shariram. And later on, when we are exposed to, you may think I'm saying something which is already known to you, but how the Upanishad presents the teaching, I want you to understand. Later on, we're exposed to this teaching, and slowly when we understand, and then when you are first of all shown as the knower, come on, you are the knower. From the standpoint of with reference to this universe, you are the knower. Therefore, why do you say you are the knower? Because the whole universe is known to you. The whole universe is experienced by you. Universe means what? Again, Jagat means what? Nama, Rupam, Karma. You experience the world as forms and names. You experience the world in the form of actions and functions, isn't it? Therefore, it's all lokaha. The entire universe, lokaha means what? Experienced, enjoyed, perceived. All the 3 words are important. Perceived, enjoyed, experienced constitute the universe, Jagat. Therefore, the known, you the knower, when you are taught, are different from the known, Because known is an object of knowledge. You, the knower, are subject of knowledge. The subject of knowledge is different from the object of knowledge. We have no doubt at all. And that is when you understand this physical body also is what? Object of knowledge, known to you, known by you. Therefore, you are different from the body. You are the knower, different from the body. The first time you are able to understand what? I was thinking, I was the body. Now my understanding has shifted, isn't it? Has changed. I am different from the body. I, the knower, am different from the known body, the object. I, the knower, am subject, different from the known body, the object. Which means, what happened now? It's called Deha Dehi Vivekaha. Deha Dehi Vivekaha. Sharira Shariri Vivekaha comes first. This is the first stage of understanding in our knowledge. In our pursuit of knowledge, first level of understanding. I am not just the body. I am different from the body. So, aham shariri, aham dehi, isn't it? That's why in Bhagavad Gita we have a verse also, which also helps us understand this fact. What is that? Sarva karmani manasa sanyasyaste sukham vashi navadvare pure dehi naiva kurvanna karayan. This 9-gated city is a physical body, and then in this physical body I am sitting comfortably. Isn't it? Navadvare pure dehi naiva kurvanna na karayan sukham vashi. I remain here in this body. So first understanding, I am not the body, I am in the body. I am in the body means what now? Is adhara. So here I am inside this room. I am inside this room when I say I am the body, this room becomes the adhara, I become the adheya. Isn't it? Supporter, room is the support. Adhara, adheya. Therefore, I who exist in this room is different from the room. I do not have identity with the room where I am sitting. Isn't it? That similarly, I am in the body, different from the body. I am in the body is what? What's that? Okay. I am in the body. I heard very bird. I am in the body means what? I am different from the body. The first level. But even then, out what happens? The doubt is there, isn't it? I am confined to this body. I am confined to this body. Which means I am limited by, conditioned by the body. I am inside the body. I am different from the body. I am not the body. But still my understanding is what? I am conditioned by the body. I am within the peripheries of the body. Still knowledge is, there is no knowledge still, okay? The next level of understanding what? I am not only in this body, no, I am in all the bodies. I am in all the bodies. This is what the second say, mentioned by what? The second line, first half. Aham, na, tad. Tad means Atma. Here I am using the word aham, I. Okay? I am the self. I am the Atma. Atma. I am the Atma, you understood. Aham, I am the Atma. Isn't it? Different from the known body. But I, the Atma, am not only in this body, but in all the bodies, in everything. Sarvasya tad sarvasya asya sarvasya antaha. It is, Atma is there in everything here. Sarvasya means in everything. Sarveshu means in all. In everything that is here in this universe, no, sarvasya asya jagataha antaha asti. Atma na kevalam asmin sharire asti, pratyekasmin sharire, pratyekasmin vastuni, sarvasya asya jagataha antaha asti. Understand now? Now it has got what now? I am in everything. I am not only in this body, mind sense complex, I am in everything. This is the second level of understanding. When you understand I the self and the knower Atma, the consciousness, obtaining in this body, obtaining now in everything else also. In this, here you are arrive at what? Jiva Ishvara Aikyam. I am in all. I am in this, I am in all.